I thought about a good topic to talk to you guys about tonight. So in the last couple weeks, I just found out that Emuparadise is pretty much being dismantled. The parent company is called Love ROMs, and they've been out since 2000. So we're going on 18 years that this company has been out there. When I was in high school in like 2003, 2004, there was a big push for like playing retro games online, and they started out, I think, with just some of the basic consoles like NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis, and then they got to like PlayStation and TurboGrafx, and they just got into the more obscure consoles. But there's been these small files out there that have been existing in Emuparadise, and it is a form of piracy. I'm not going to deny them that. And the problem with that is obviously they don't want people doing that, but now they're dismantling the website. The big problem with this is that there's not going to be any way to get a lot of these games going forward, and that's really frustrating. Understand they don't want us to like just download them illegally and play them, and that's totally acceptable, and I understand that. But there's just all these ROM hacks people have worked on over the years. There's probably hundreds of them just between Castlevania and Super Mario and Mega Man and Super Metroid. It's really frustrating to know that all these have been games have been taken down, in addition to Super Mario World, Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger. It's very frustrating. And you might say, okay, well, it's obviously sucks because you can't play those anymore. But now I'm thinking that there's all these younger people out there that haven't played them that are not going to be able to. It creates this, I want to say, reliance on Nintendo releasing them all on the Virtual Console for the Switch, which they're planning on launching next month in September 2018. So I understand why they're doing it. They didn't do that for the Wii or the Wii U, which doesn't really make a lot of sense why they're doing it now. So it's just confusing as hell to me why they pick now of all times to really crack down on this website. A lot of these physical media copies of these games from the 80s and the 90s, they're not accessible to people anymore. You want to get a copy of Chrono Trigger, used copy of Chrono Trigger could easily go for 60, 70, 80 bucks. A lot of these games are outside the realm of possibilities if someone actually wants to get a copy of it. Even used, some of the more rare games command hundreds of dollars. Very frustrating. And I'm referring mainly to JRPGs because that's a genre of game I really like. And you were able to get them out there for free. I'm sure they're going to be on the Virtual Console, but it just takes away just an element of being able to play these games in a way that, again, was pirated, but it doesn't offer the opportunity for people to play them anymore. So unless you have physical copies, I mean, I imagine that's going to spike the prices of retro games again as they become increasingly popular. People are going to have to either turn to Nintendo or start paying outrageous prices for these old games and the physical media. And I don't know, when my friend the other night, he made a comment, he's like, maybe retro gaming just isn't going to be as popular going forward. And you know what? That's something that could certainly be a thing. And I just think it might be funny that a lot of people that are 20 or 30 or older now, they may just be clinging on to these games. The younger generation may never have access to playing these games, or if they do, they're going to be $5 to $10 a pop on the Virtual Console. So I'm just really frustrated with that. I just can't imagine why 18 years after Nintendo clearly knew these things were going on, and all of a sudden it becomes really important for them to monetize these old franchises that have existed since the 80s. And if you really want to get a copy of these, you can just go torrent them. I just don't understand the logic in taking it down and really cracking down. I mean, it's certainly greed, there's no doubt about that, but it just makes you wonder, like, there's always bad things going on in the world, and it makes you wonder why we crack down on something just randomly one day. Oh, enough is enough. Hurricane, mass shooting, like the Florida shooting that happened in the last 2 years. Why all of a sudden did it become important for gun control to be a central issue again when this happens all the time? It's just another one of those, you just don't understand the rationale, and you assume that other people are rational creatures, but that clearly isn't the case. And this is another instance where Nintendo could have done this 15 years ago and probably done a good job cracking down on it. So maybe it's just a symptom of we've been having it good for a long time, and now that party's come to an end, and that's probably what it is. So, like I said, if you haven't already gotten those games, it looks like you're going to have to look to virtual consoles or go out to your favorite retro video game stores, and that's going to be it. I hope that you managed to pick up some of these games on the cheap when you were younger and still have them from when you were a kid, or I hope that some of your friends were able to get you some ROM dumps before this happened. Either way, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to play a lot of these older games unless we have physical copies anymore, and that's kind of disappointing. Still don't really understand the rationale for that.